There's this professional concept, and we use it to talk about our business. It's called the design build process. What we've learned in each marketplace is that everyone has their own interpretation of exactly what design build means. And so we're not in-house engineers. We're not in-house architects. In some marketplaces, that's what it means. Everything happens right here. But we do love the design build method that we've learned and kind of grown up in here in Dallas, Fort Worth. And I want to unpack it a little bit so everyone has a general sense of what I'm talking about. So typically we'll work with an architectural firm. We'll work in partnership with them, and we'll, through our subcontractor and vendor relationships, we will allow the subs and the vendors to become the engineers for the rest of the design process. And that is a highly collaborative spot where our expertise and their expertise with the architect and the developer come together to really create sharp tools. The other thing that's very unique about that is because we've done it so much, instead of it going through a very linear process where the architect designs it, closes it out, gives it to the engineer picks it up, takes it and closes it out. You kind of stack rank it in there, and you overlay and parallel a lot of things that normally would happen in a very linear process. And most importantly, I think it involves the detailed collaboration with the end user. So ultimately, no one knows their business as good as the user. Now, they might not have the terminology and the skill set and the giftedness to be able to articulate their business very well to an engineer. There's oftentimes a lot of noise and static there. And I think what makes us great is we know how to do both. We know how to make sure there's no drop balls, that we hit the target. We're just really good under those complicated, stressful situations through the design build process. Design build is not for every job. It's really having had the experience and knowing how to lead the process and making sure that the appropriate level of design is given. The more complicated it gets, sometimes the more risk there is. So you do need engineering firms, and so we've kind of developed our own little scale where it's design assist then after design build. So the engineers that are going to stamp it are there with the subs and the end user and us. And then there's other times when it's just very, very sophisticated and the risk is way too high. And so what happens in the engineering process is a lot of that risk is traded for the engineering stamp and the expertise. In our institutional world, where big institutional capital is being deployed to develop real estate, a lot of times the development community or the third-party real estate management company understands those sensitivities as well. And that's where we snug up in there with those guys, roll up our sleeves and try to figure out what the best recipe is. We are really having to think outside the box with some of the supply chain issues, and I think design build is a great remedy to some of the pain that's out there related to supply chain issues. Historically, roof detailing and roof design is done deeper into the process. We're actually moving that up to the front so that we can release the roof and buy that roofing material and secure our time slot in the delivery process. That's the thinking outside the box, having the right partners and knowing how to break it apart and rearrange it so that you still hit the end result. It is interesting when you go to other markets like Austin or Houston, they have their interpretation of how this works. And so we see huge opportunity in being able to help people. It's not trying to push our way. It's just really about creating an environment where best practices are discussed and you really debate best means and methods on how to deliver. If you have any questions about whether or not you should do design build, you should call us and we'll give you a God's honest, truthful answer whether you should hire us or not. We're not in the business of underperforming. This is not an easy thing to teach. I think that we are happy to give free advice and we want to help the marketplace however we can.